glass. We recording, right?
No, I was. TJ, you know that you got the recording on.
Yeah, it automatically started recording when I opened it up.
All right, I'm gonna leave and then come back. I'm trying to come back another way because this computer's screwing up.
Yeah.
And we're trying to-
They like get rid of the preamble before they post it online anyway. So
But attendees can hear us all.
yeah, there's nobody here yet.
Right, just so you know.
Roger that.
Roger, Tony.
Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna leave because we're trying to troubleshoot what's going on with my Chromebook and Zoom, so. I'm gonna see if I can come back another way, which wouldn't let me see anyway. All right, I'll see you in a minute.
All right, see ya.
No, didn't work. You're gonna have to talk to Ryan tomorrow.
What's wrong with it?
I keep getting unstable connection, so we're trying to get to Zoom through a different pathway, but
Oh, okay.
that one didn't work, so. And I've been through the ringer with Xfinity, had them in the last 2 years. We've had them out here several times and they've replaced everything. So
Xfinity is like a Gloucester monopoly, there's nothing else here.
it is a monopoly.
And then they crush you.
So I am getting good speeds now, so that's different. But see, you just froze.
Yeah, you're frozen.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Okay, at least you can hear me, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be that there's some pathway in Zoom that I need to change, so.
But he can hear us perfectly right.
Yeah.
Where are you? I don't even see you.
I'm at my office. I can't see it. She doesn't have a computer.
Oh,
Computer's in the shop. Plus, I wanted to be here for support.
yeah.
Joint.
So yeah, it's funny. I was talking to one of the new members today and I said, have you been sworn in yet? Oh, no. I said, well, you better get down there if you want to vote tonight.
Yeah.
Because they can't, it's funny. I thought about that because I saw, can you guys still hear me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You froze up. Because I saw something on TV about a Board of Health ruling that they had to nullify because one of the members, they didn't have a quorum because one of the members hadn't gotten sworn in yet.
Oh, God.
That's no good.
Imagine if we had to nullify Steve. That wouldn't be good.
He better have gotten sworn in. Well, he just can't vote. So,
Can I bring? How do I bring her in as a panelist?
uh-oh.
Promote to panelist.
DJ.
How you doing?
Good, thanks. How's everybody doing? Hi, Karen.
Hi, Joe. Here she is.
Leslie, just pay close attention to the motions, but this is
Okay.
recorded, so when you go to do the minutes tomorrow or whenever, you can
Yeah.
look back, so don't
Okay.
switch if you miss something.
Yeah, Peter's on his cell.
Bob Elves, gotta promote him to a panelist. Let's see. All right, we're not muted in this install.
It keeps coming up.
I can hear you now.
What are we missing?
Oh,
Steve Blank.
missing Steve.
Steve Blank.
Peter Young.
Peter Young's on this phone.
Peter Young says he's on a call. We got an attendee here. Is Peter?
Yeah, he's on his phone.
Do I ask about me?
No, sorry, Peter Young, not, sorry, Peter, other Peter. Peter. I think that's his number. Peter Young, is that you, the 978-884 or 978-846-2141? You can press *9 on your phone. Yeah, that is him. Oh, he's got his hand raised here. Okay. Peter, can you hear us? Peter, you there?
TJ, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you on here now. Okay.
Thank you.
It's 5:01. I believe we're only missing one member, Steve LeBlanc. Steve just texted me. He's had to restart his computer. He's getting ready to log. He's logging in.
Bobby, he's on his phone.
Bobby, do you have video capability? Bob Elves?
Yes, I get, what am I doing wrong here? Hold on, sorry. It's just, let me
Just-
come out. Go ahead.
I just really want to get a look at you. That's all, Bob.
I know. When we're apart, we're together. You know what I'll do? I'm gonna sign off and sign right back on.
Okay, we're gonna.
Oh, wait a minute, here it is. I think I found it.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. I brushed my
Must
teeth.
be that BC education.
Oh. You know how you can tell someone went to BC, right? They tell you.
I think we're just waiting for
Steve.
Steve.
You have to wait.
Oh, hold on a second. I got another. Two attendees. All right, I'm just gonna promote Steve LeBlanc to a panelist. Let's see. Okay, I think we have everybody. Steve, can you hear us? There we go.
What an
All right.
ordeal that was. Thank you for waiting.
Thank you
No
very
problem.
much. Our Waterways Board is now in session. Welcome, everybody. The Waterways Board remote meeting, Wednesday, February 16th, 2022. Pursuant to Section 20 of Chapter 20 of Acts of 2021, this meeting will be conducted by remote participation. Additionally, all votes taken by the Waterways Board during this and future remote meetings will be by roll call vote. If there is a public comment period, you are calling in on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you are watching on a computer or a device, there is a raised hand button that you can tap or press to request to speak. This meeting will be recorded and made available on the city's website in accordance with the state open meeting law. Welcome, everybody. My name is Karen Tibbetts. I'm the senior board member and recreational seat. Tonight, the agenda will be a little bit out of order due to elections for chairperson and vice chair. But the first order of business, not on the agenda, will be a huge thank you to our past chairman, Tony Gross. I've worked with Tony almost 7 years now. Myself, the Waterways Board, the City of Gloucester, and past board members recognize the hard work and dedication that moved Gloucester's waterfront forward. Tony helped design and promote and secure the now Harbor Masters building, offices, conference center, and both hospitality and restrooms for visiting boaters. Tony has worked during a time of development, change, and organization. Tony, thank you for working with TJ and Chad, respecting the accomplishments of our harbor master, making Gloucester in the top 10 of boating destinations. Thank you for your detail to rules and regulations and keeping us legal, Tony. This City of Gloucester's 400th medal represents the honor that has been for all of us to work with you, Tony. So here we present to Tony Gross for all of his hard work from Gloucester's 400 and all the past people that have worked under Tony. Congratulations. Thank you very much. And here is a medal for Tony Gross. Thank you,
Thank you,
Tony.
thank you so much for those kind words, Karen. It was a labor of love. It was not a solo mission. Many of us had this long-term vision and we made it a reality. And I'm very proud of all the people I worked with, you included, and Phil, Bob Alves, you were there. Steve, you were there. We really worked hard. Joe, you came in towards the end of it, but helped us move the other things forward, including the building. So it was a big team effort, and thank you all very much.
And thank you.
Tony.
Would anybody else like to say anything before we go on to elections?
Well,
We're
this is Bob Alves, but yeah, I mean, all the work, Tony, that you did, especially in terms of the new Harbor Master's office, I think that majority of that went unrecognized. So I'm tipping my hat to you. And I know size 13, right, Tony?
That's correct, Bob.
Okay, got it. I just want to remind Steve, Tony, that's all.
And don't forget, everything else is ratioed the same.
All right, buddy.
Karen, I'd like to say a couple of words too, please.
Okay, Steve.
So I'm just honored to be part of this board, trying to fill Tony's shoes, which I don't take that size, but I'm gonna do my damn best to try to do what I can for this board. I've seen it through thick and thin, the worst of times, the best of times. We've only seen the best of times lately. I know TJ and Chad see the worst of times, but at the I know, but the Waterways Board is trying to see the best of times and move us where we want to be. So Tony, you've done an amazing job, and we're all going to try to pick up a little bit of slack. And if we all do it, we can. Well, at least you're still here, but we can all fulfill what we have to do with you not being a voting member.
Does anyone else have anything to say before we move on to elections? So it looks like we're all set.
Karen, I was a little remiss where I did not thank TJ and Chad, because without them, none of our changes would have happened. And they've been an A+ team, and I really want to thank those two gentlemen also.
Yes, I agree with you, and thank you. All right, so I guess now we can move on to elections, and before we do, the first nomination I'll be looking for would be chairperson. But before we do that, I guess I have to check in and make sure, in order to vote, that the new members have been sworn in. John Harvey Jr., have you been sworn in at this time?
I have, yes.
Okay, Donna Crocker, have you been sworn in? Donna, can you hear us?
I have been sworn in.
Good, thank you very much. And Peter, have you been sworn in?
No, not yet. I don't believe I have.
Oh, okay, then at this time, Peter, I'm sorry to say that you will not be able to vote for chairperson or vice chair at this time. And Bob Alves, have you been sworn in?
Yes, I have, Karen.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So we'll take it to the floor. Is there anyone that would like to bring forward a nomination for chairperson of the Waterways Board?
I'd like to nominate Steve LeBlanc as chair.
Do we have a second for that?
Seconded.
It's Peter Young. I'll second that.
Okay, great. So do we have anybody else that wants to be nominated for?
Karen, this
chairperson?
is Chad. You do not need a second on a nomination. Just going forward, you do not need a second.
Okay, I have a note here that said I needed to do that.
Yeah,
So
we
that's
usually,
fine.
at council, we usually get a second for a nomination.
But thank you,
So-
Chad.
Not by Robert's rule, Steve.
Okay.
Gotcha. Are we ready now? We ready to move forward for a yes for Steve LeBlanc to be nominated tonight for chairperson of the Waterways Board? This is a roll call vote. Peter Young,
Yes.
Joe Crow,
Yes.
Phil Cusimano,
Yes.
Robert Alves,
Yes.
Steve LeBlanc.
I don't know. Yes.
Karen Tibbetts, yes. TJ Shimataro,
No vote for me.
no vote. Peter Feinstein, I'm sorry, Peter, we have to skip over you tonight. Donna Crocker,
Yes.
John Harvey Jr.
Yes.
Okay, that puts us, I believe, at 8 full votes. So we are going to congratulate Steve LeBlanc, and you will be moving on as chairperson of the Gloucester Waterways Board. Congratulations, Steve.
Thank you, Karen. I will take over the meeting from here if that's okay with you.
I would love that.
All right. And not getting a second for a nomination, I've never heard of that in all my years, but I know TJ sent out the Roberts rules earlier. I didn't have a chance to look at it, but it's weird being nominated and not having a second, so. But anyway,
looked, that is in fact what it said.
yeah, it's weird. We, at council, we nominated a president, you got a second, you know, so it's just going by the way we do it
Because
at
you're not
council.
doing it right all the time, Steve, doesn't mean that's. the way it is.
All right, all right, so electing a vice chairperson, is there anybody that would like, by a show of hands, is there anybody that would like to be nominated for vice chair? All right, we have Phil. Is there anybody else that would like to be vice chair? All right, raise hand if anybody else. Seeing none. I guess we don't need a second. There hasn't been a nomination. Would somebody like to nominate Phil as vice chair? Can everybody hear me?
I'll nominate him if, you
All
know,
right,
it's the only one running, right?
yeah. All right, anybody else like to be nominated? All right, seeing none, I will call for the roll.
Oh, we got one.
Oh, Joe, you'd like to be vice chair? Oh, you're on mute, buddy.
Sure, I'll nominate myself.
All right, so we have two nominations. All right, we have two nominations for vice chair. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you guys know better than I do. I only did 10 years on the council. What we do at council level is, TJ, should I look at the rules that we had for you that you sent out?
This is not my meeting.
We usually, we do a roll call vote, and what would happen is, hypothetically, if I called Karen, she would say a name, then myself would say a name, then Phil would say a name, then Joe would say a name, and whoever has the most names nominated at the end of this round, that's how we would vote vice chair. So with that being said, I will call for the roll call. So you would either say Joe or you would say Phil for vice chair. Peter.
Joe.
Donna.
Joe.
All righty. Peter, you're not allowed to vote. John.
Joe.
All right. Bob.
Phil.
All right. Karen.
Joe,
All right. Phil.
Phil picks Phil.
Phil picks Phil. Is there anybody that I haven't called beside myself? All right, seeing none. I will also pick Phil. And Joe wins on a roll call vote of 4-3. So Joe, you are the vice chair of the Waterways Board. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right, anybody have any objection with that? The way it was done, okay? Seeing none, we're gonna move on to our regular order of business. And we're gonna have oral communications. Is there anybody here that would like to speak under oral communications? Please raise your hand. Let's see here. I am not a co-host, so TJ, if you can bring in, there is somebody that has their hand raised over at oral communications.
That's
Peter,
just Peter, that's Peter Young's number.
it's
Yeah,
weird,
that's
'cause
Peter. He hasn't put his hand down yet.
Yeah, that's nobody else. There's nobody else, Steve.
Yeah, I can see Peter down in the corner. I just wasn't sure. All
Yeah,
right.
I don't know
anybody-
why it's still doing that, but it's okay.
That's all right. There's nobody
I'll
here.
lower his hand. How about that?
All
There
right.
we go.
So nobody's here for oral communications, so we're gonna have approval of minutes. So our last Waterways Board meeting, do we have a motion to approve? Well, first, is there anybody that would like to remove anything from our last meeting for minutes? All right, now's the time to correct anything, if anything is not in line with our last meeting.
It was good.
All right, do we have a motion to move our, approve our minutes? Somebody want to move it? So move.
So
Make a
moved.
motion to move the December 2nd minutes as written.
All right, and that was Joe. All right, somebody like to second?
I'll second.
Peter Young, second.
All right, Bob and Peter second. All right, any discussion on the approval of minutes? Seeing none, I'll call for the roll. Peter,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
John? John, can you hear me for the approval of the Waterways meeting minutes?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Bob,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
and Steve, yes. Motion approves unanimously. Well, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of us. So motion approves on a roll call vote of 8 in favor, 1 not able to vote. All right, moving on to item number 4, recently certified retaining earnings amount and accounts designations and usage. TJ?
All right, good evening, everybody. Let's see here. So this year, the Waterways Enterprise Fund retained earnings was in the amount, I don't have the exact amount in front of me, sorry, it's 149,000 and change, almost $150,000 in retained earnings. That was due to a variety of circumstances. We did about 35% more earnings in transient boat revenue. We had about $25,000 that the department made unrelated to personnel pertaining to details at the train bridge. And then, of course, just good fiscal management throughout the entire department left us with about 150,000 in retained earnings, which is a pretty decent number for this department anyways, with about a 400,000 a year annual operating expense. So it's no secret, there's everyone's looked at the agenda. It's no secret that inflation is just running rampant everywhere in every sector. Unfortunately, just like it's always been, the marine trade sector, marine in general, is always in an inflated price. So we're getting hit twice as hard this year. Things that I'm pricing out, for instance, like a barrel of chain is up 100% in the last 18 months. Other items range between 40% and 200% increase in cost of goods for some everyday products that we use in this department. So budgeting is going to be kind of challenging for this next year. I was talking to the mayor earlier about it on an unrelated meeting, but we're getting hit pretty hard. We'll do the best we can. So with that being said, we'll just roll right down items A through J. The first one is the repair and refit to the Gloucesterman launch. As most of you are aware, if not all of you, I apologize for any redundancy, but we have some newcomers here, so we want to get them caught up. As you guys know, the launch is a very, very popular service. It gets about 11 to 1,200 hours in a 100-day period on it. It runs from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and it never stops. The boat's just hit its 10-year-old mark, and it has yet to have a real haul-out refit on it. We started encompassing some pretty significant problems towards the end of last season, and we're able to band-aid our way through until we took the launch out of service Columbus Day weekend. We ended up having the boat. We had a leaky cutlass bearing and stuffing box. We had an emergency haul out for at Cape Ann Marina, and we started looking around at certain things, and it kind of turned into a snowball effect. we ended up pulling the motor out of right out of the launch. Found out that the oil pan where the gas where you actually like drain the oil, like the screw pin, that area was pretty rusted out, and it was at the brink of failure. We just so happened to have gotten through the season like that. So we ran into a variety of different things that kind of snowballed into about $22,000 worth of work. All in all, over a 10-year period, there really hasn't been any major maintenance done to that. There's annual maintenance, but there hasn't been any real overhaul refit maintenance on it. So that stuff's been, the boat's over at Cape Ann Marina. It's been there. When we get it back, it's going to look brand new, as it should. It's the first representation that people see when they come into the city is that launch and our launch operators. So that's the first bill that we're gonna have to that was unbudgeted, of course. The next one, new mooring balls and no
Hey,
wake boots.
Jay, can I interrupt? It's Peter. At our last meeting, we talked briefly about a backup launch. Any update there?
Not on for this specific agenda item, but we could maybe talk about that at the end. Keep rolling through
All
the
right,
agenda.
thank you.
Next one's new mooring balls, new wake buoys. As most of you are aware, over the last 3 years, we've gone through the city. We have almost 30 transient moorings, and we've replaced almost all the areas. The last area to get replaced is Stage Head. With the increased popularity of our transit moorings balls, it's important to update and maintain these. These will be the last ones to get replaced, and also in addition to one out on Niles Beach. I know Bob Alves will be happy with that announcement. So and some new no wake buoys. These are all our no wake buoys are old. We're just rolling through 5 or 6 of them a year, depending on retained earnings. It's a capital, it's just a long-term expense, so we're not replacing everything at one time. Another great example of inflation, those mooring balls are $412 a piece. They're $630 a piece this year. So that's for a total of $6,700. The mooring tackle and new transient off of Niles Beach, 10 grand. I hope to put 2 in. We'll see what happens. That's we'll have to see a few things play out here. Motor gas and oil addition. This is a preliminary. This is gas is going to be $5 a gallon here Memorial Day on the water, no doubt. We did not budget for $5 a gallon gas. We budgeted for $2.50 a gallon gas. So we have $3,000 in our coffers right now to get us to July. We're going to double that because gas has doubled on the water anyways. Property liability insurance. This is just our prop liability for all of our assets, and the commercial and the Solomon Jacobs and our public landings went up $3,000 this year. I had to backfill it already. We need to get that money back into our accounts because it was unbudgeted. We got a steering repair for the 25-foot Parker. As most of you know, we do have a new patrol boat and rescue boat on order. It's probably 16 months out at least. We're going to Band-Aid this Parker until we can't anymore. It's on its last heartbeat, if you will. And another example of what's happening with supply chain, I ordered this steering pump in September. I still don't have it. So that's a huge problem when you're in a marine business and you have patrol boats and launches and you can't get parts and they just don't. And it's not like I can go to nobody has this part. All these Evinrude dealers are all together. Nobody's got this part. It's been earmarked to ship. It's yet to ship. Temp salaries backfill. This generally always happens to us because every year we get busier and busier. We had some pretty crazy weekends last year where we brought on additional staff. That's just going to backfill. Again, if we don't use it, we retain it. I always put a higher number in these because it's all our money in the end. July 1st comes around and we only use $4,000 of that, then the $2,000. will show up in the retained earnings coffers for next year once it's certified. Rescue and survival, some float coats. We kind of budgeted, took some retained earnings for this last year. We were unable to get the stuff. That money fell to the bottom line, and now we're going to ask for it again. Additional power pedestal for the Solomon Jacobs Marina down here. With that new boat coming in, we need to add an additional power pedestal to the marina. Another huge cost. That was like a $2,000, $2,200 ordeal a year ago. Just the copper alone is 25 bucks a foot. We got a 100-foot run. Just the wire to get to the pedestal is going to cost 2,500 bucks, believe it or not. And then the procurement for a Conex box storage container. Originally, I was thinking about maybe like a Reed's Ferry shed that we're going to put down the DPW. As you guys know, we have a small work facility here, but you add a snow blower and some other stuff in there, it gets tight. We'd like to be able to store some of this stuff and some other items that we usually store outside for longevity. We'd like to start storing them inside. I then transitioned to a Conex box after talking to our counterparts of the DPW for the ease of being able to move this thing if it needs to get moved. DPW can move a Conex box with a fork truck. Those things have actually doubled themselves. Those have skyrocketed. A new 20-foot Conex box from Pan in Salisbury was $4,200. It's now $7,900. So we're going to get a used one ship to the tune between $4,000 and $5,000, depending on what it looks like. We're going to put that down the DPW and store. It's just a little extension of storage for us, but in the event we have a project that it can be moved, if it needs to be moved off site, we need it somewhere else at some point for whatever the reason may be, we can put it on a truck and bring it there and unload it. So it's a little more practical than a Reed's Ferry shed. It's a little less inexpensive. With all that being said, we'll move on to the item 5, but is there any discussion or questions, comments, concerns, additional information that anybody wants pertaining to A through J? For the new members here, this gets voted on. These items all get voted on here at the Gloucester Waterways Board. They then go to the mayor's report. The department head, myself, types this up into a variety of memorandums that go into the mayor's report. The mayor says yay or nay, submits them to the mayor's report, goes to the full city council. The city council refers it out to the appropriate subcommittee, which is budget and finance. I then go up here before budget and finance and say pretty much exactly what I've said to you guys tonight. They vote it yay or nay. It goes back to the full council for vote. They vote it yes or no. And then that's how it works. So this is step 1 of pretty much 4, in case anybody's wondering how that process works. Once they approve it, they'll earmark the money back into the appropriate accounts, which I deem through our budget process, and then we'll, procure the items or backfill accounts as necessary. Any questions on that at all?
Yeah, I do. Bob House. I was
Yeah,
just
Bob.
wondering, the infrastructure at Cripple Cove looks great, but in terms of St. Peter's, the public landing there, I was wondering if there's anything that's needed in the upcoming year or the next, if you have any plans over the next 2 years.
Yeah, so I don't want to put the cart before the horse here, but with collaboration of this department and community development, we have applied for some funding to redo a variety of things at St. Peter's, the Harbor Walk, the Davit, some seawall work, and some stuff down there through Seaport Economic Council. That meeting, I believe, is next week. It's on my calendar. I got it up here, and we're trying to get some grant money for down there. So long and the short is, yes, we don't have the money yet, but it's looking good.
All right, thank you.
Not to the budget end of things, but as far as your steering problem on the 25-foot Parker,
Yeah.
where that's an unpowered helm unit, have you looked into just getting a different brand like a Sea Star or a Morse or something else?
So that's an Evinrude E-Tech Gen 2. The power steering unit is all in one. The steering and the power steering, it's all in one. It's not a C-Star unit. It's not like a typical outboard. It's a specifically, well, Mercury actually owns the patent now, so it's on all new Mercury motors since Evinrude went out of business. But they got you. It's only them. It's their system.
That is a powered unit.
Yeah, it's a powered unit, and it's a Evinrude specific unit. So, yeah, there's nowhere else to go.
TJ, one more question?
Yep.
Possibility of a second launch?
Yeah, so that's obviously it's been discussed on here. We need a second launch. We've identified a few launches, whether they'll be around by the time we get funding for it or not. I've spoken with the administration about it. We did receive, the city of Gloucester did receive some surplus dredge funds. We're not quite sure what we can do with that money yet. We're working on it. If we can end up using that for equipment, it won't be able to be used for a launch, but it will be able to hopefully be able to use for equipment such as a patrol boat. So we'd be able to pay for the patrol boat out of that and then either get a loan order or come up with the cash ourselves to buy a second launch. There's a few things teetering on that. Obviously, it all comes down to the dollar. The administration is pro second launch. I mean, they see the need for it. The numbers speak for themselves. If you've been on any of these other board meeting or Waterways Board meetings, not just volume, it's being able to expand further. And it's also, what if that oil pan went down in July? Right. I ordered that oil pan in September when the boat came out, or October, excuse me. And we just got, Cape Ann Marina just got it. It's a Westerbeek oil pan on probably the most common 4-cylinder Westerbeek motor there is. I mean, I can look out the window of my office right now and see 6 boats with that motor in it. And it took that long to get an oil pan. If that had happened in July, we would have been totally smoked for the season. So the second launch, is a twofold situation. It's, hey, if one launch goes down, you have a backup. And it's also for peak, hours. Second launch isn't going to be run 7 days a week, obviously. Right out the gate, it'll be run, weekends and holidays and other peak times like Schooner Festival or Fiesta. I don't have a great answer on the funding yet. But I think overall from city councilors that I've spoken with and the administration, obviously the Waterways Board in support of this second launch, I think we're going to be able to get something done. I'm probably 50-50 on whether it'll happen by June or not at this point. In the next couple of weeks or by our next meeting, I should have probably a little better answer on that.
Thank you.
Anything
How much
else?
is needed? How much is needed for the second launch?
Between 110 to 130,000, depending on what we get and what we can find. Building a launch, everything's changed in the last 2 years. I don't have to keep harping on that. Everyone here has been affected by supply chain or inflation at some point, I'm sure. Builds are like, you used to call a manufacturer like Eastern and be like, hey, I want to put a deposit down. And they'd be like, yep, 6 months. Now they're like, yeah, 3 years, Eastern told us. So we got to find a used launch, but like newer, a new-ish used launch. They do exist. We've identified some in the past Waterways Board meeting of Old Port, and they range between 110 to 130,000. That's something we could go, if I had a check tomorrow, I could go pick up. I haven't checked in the last week or two if they're still available, but I'm sure that Old Port cycles through quite a bit of stuff. So that's kind of where we're at with that pricing wise. So. Anybody else?
Right.
All right. Mr. Chair?
Yep, you will.
Roll call vote on these or?
We sure will. Any other questions, discussion before we vote? All right, seeing none. So during this meeting, we're gonna vote by the the way I see it on my screen, but future meetings, best practice is we'll vote by the letter of your last name, and it'll go in alphabetical order. So whoever is, so Bob, you would be first vote, and then we'll go alphabetically through that. And every meeting after that, it'll rotate to the next person down. So that way, everybody's voting first and not last or in between. That's how we typically do it at city council. And I think we should bring that forward to this board, so that way everybody knows who's voting first in the order that we are going to proceed with these meetings. So during this meeting, I don't have the alphabetical order in front of me, so I'm going to start with my bottom right-hand corner and move my way up to the upper left-hand corner. So first it would be Peter.
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Phil. You're on mute, Phil.
Yes.
Thank you. Donna,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Peter, we're gonna skip over you this meeting, but we'll get you back in the loop next time. Joe,
Yes.
Steve, yes, and Karen.
Yes.
Motion passes on a roll call vote of 8 in favor, 1 unable to vote. All right, TJ, next order of business.
Can I ask a question on that, Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Why don't we get it, when you send it over to council, TJ, when you send your thing to be in the mayor, do a total on it?
Say that again?
When you send it over to the mayor, do a total on it.
Yeah, I will.
So
Yeah.
it goes to BNF. By the way,
Roger.
everybody, I sit on BNF, so.
Yeah.
I'm the
Yep.
budget, so.
No problem.
All right, any other questions? All right, TJ, item number 5.
All right, so with that being said, after everything I just said, we have $83,738 remaining, which is a very good number. That's higher than our total retained earnings has been since I've been here. So that's what we have left over after everything I just read.
2 minutes.
So we're gonna try to, I'd like to do, a few years ago, we started a stabilization account, a rainy day fund, if you will, savings account, whatever you want to call it. City, it's called a stabilization account. Last year, we had like $60,000 in retained earnings, I believe was the total number. We ended up putting 29,000 and change in a savings account. This year, I'd like to add the remainder of the 82,738 to that savings account, that stabilization account. We do this for a couple of reasons, and this is for new member information and a refresher for anyone who's forgotten. We're on an enterprise fund. We're not part of the general fund. Cities, rest of the city's on the general fund. We're an enterprise fund, which means we retain what we make at the end of the year. Whatever's left over doesn't just go into the general fund for plowing or potholes or any of that stuff. We retain it. What happens is the fiscal year for the city of Gloucester is July 1. After July 1, the books close, the remainder has to be recertified through the auditor and then through the state. And then it becomes retained earnings that's been certified. And that's what gives us our final number. That happens, July it closes. We didn't get retained earnings certified till January. So if we leave this money in limbo, it has to get recertified, which means we won't be able to access it for the period of those months. So by removing it and putting it in the stabilization account, we can access it by going to city council at any time. We don't have to wait for recertification. So this was something that had never been done down here. The help of the board and Tony in past years and the auditor, this is the cleanest way to do it, and we can access it. Something major happens, we have $30,000 repair to something or whatever the case may be in August, we can get access to the money by going through the city council to get it. So hopefully that helps understand where this money goes. Pretty much goes into a savings account. There'll be about 105 grand in there roughly after this. So that's it.
I'm on mute this time. All right, any other questions for TJ before we move on to the next item? All right, that is the last item. There are any other discussion on items that were not reasonably.
That's got to give, Steve, I think that's got to get voted to
Okay.
move that money.
All right. All right, so once again, we'll do a roll call vote, and at this time, I'm just gonna make same order as last time. Move from my lower right-hand corner up to my upper left, but next Waterways Board meeting, we will be going alphabetically, and so on.
Sorry,
Peter
can I
Young.
just ask one question? Can that stabilization fund money, if a launch just came up that was absolutely perfect for the city of Gloucester, could some of that be used as a down payment, financing the rest, or
Yes.
is that?
Yep. Yes, it could. And it would be the same situation. I would come to the Waterways Board, ask to use the money, and the process in which I've outlined before for this is the
Gotcha.
same. It's
Yep.
just by moving it to the stabilization account, we don't have that weird gray area where we can't touch it. But
Right.
yes.
All right, thank you, Donna. Anything else before we vote? All right, seeing none. Peter Young,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Phil,
Yes.
Donna,
Yep, yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Steve, yes, and Karen.
Yes.
Motion passes on a roll call vote of 8 in favor, 1 unable to vote. All right, item number 5 is anything that was not on the agenda within reason that we need to discuss before we adjourn. All right, seeing none. TJ, do you want to close with
Yeah,
anything?
just Mr. Feinstein, all you need to do is go to the clerk's office anytime and tell them you need to just take your oath in case you had questions on that. Just got to go in, see the clerk. She'll administer the oath, then you'll be good to go. I think everyone else has been through, obviously, if they've sworn in, they've been through the process. Thanks again to Tony. Thanks again for people stepping up for leadership positions on the board. More stuff to follow in the upcoming months. The administration's new, they're still drinking from a fire hose up there as to be expected. But we have some discussions for, launches and stuff and things scheduled on calendars. I'll have more information as it comes. We're going to be coming into probably a pretty tough budget season because of the prices of everything. Not even the prices, the availability of stuff. The administration's aware of it. We're just going to have to do the best we can and roll as it comes. We're pretty we anticipate quite a bit down here and try to plan way ahead this department. And we've started to stock certain things that I know probably won't be more available come June, July, August. Parts for boats, extra starters, extra alternators, extra belt, extra stuff like that wear out, items that generally wear out. But we'll just see what happens. And next meeting I'll be able to probably identify deficiencies and stuff like that. But that's all I got. Thanks to everybody for joining tonight. And
TJ, can I ask a quick question, TJ?
Sure.
I was just wondering what your 3 top priorities are moving forward 2022. And then secondly, maybe if you could share with us your new intergalactic harbor master's office, what your thoughts are. Thank you, Tony, by the way.
My top 3, one's a launch, probably number 1.
Okay.
Always, so we have the great Solomon Jacobs Marina now, right? The land side's been done, the shore side's been done. The reorganization, if you will, of the department's been done. The last real piece of this is equipment related, which we have a new boat coming, but we also have some other older equipment. That's the real last big piece here. And then, with another launch will be an expansion, hopefully, of transient services. I can't add any more moorings at Southeast Harbor. I can't add any more transient moorings because the launch is already at capacity. It's already 45-minute wait time, an hour on Saturdays, which is a little, to the unacceptable. Anything over 45 minutes, I think, is not really acceptable. It's not really acceptable to me. So to add extra services that are going to, strain that service more, we just can't do it. So, you know, it's always expansion, of course. So that's kind of where I'm at, equipment expansion and another launch. The building's great. There's a few other things I'd like to add since you just reminded me. If anyone wants to go on Docwa.com and look at the reviews, we have an unbelievable 4.8 star review, a couple hundred reviews on there. So it's not like 3 people went on and said this place is great. The only negative we get on there is the launch because of wait times. So that's something we got to tighten up. The building's been great. It was a big hit last year, and that was year 1 in a COVID year. So I can just imagine how busy this place is going to be. The only thing that's going to hold us back is, you know, $5-6 a gallon gas this year on the water.
Right.
They're saying $5 on the water Memorial Day weekend. You know, so we'll see what that does. See if that hurt, you know, how bad that hurts us. I don't know what the answer is yet. We'll just have to wait and see. But that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, thanks for your pragmatic leadership. Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks.
The conference room.
Thanks,
Mr.
Bob.
Chair, if I could say something. I
Yes, sir.
appreciate it. Yeah, Bob, you're giving me probably too much credit. I would just like to remind everyone that the new CAO, Jill Cahill, without her, we would not have this new visiting voting center. So I just want everyone to recognize Jill's efforts in
Yeah,
this.
absolutely.
Community Development Director. She got us all the money, you know, she was very instrumental in getting the funding out of the Seaport Economic Council. So, and shepherding through it, and, you know, and the difficulties that there are with a site like that. There was a lot of difficulty with that site. And she was a real good general running us through that one. So I just wanted to make sure Jill got her shout out. Thanks.
I agree, Tony. I agree.
TJ,
all right.
before we leave, I know you mentioned all the supply chain stuff. You want to throw in the details on the new truck we're not getting?
Oh yeah, we budgeted for a new vehicle. Like that's another thing. Like we budgeted, we traded a truck into the DPW. We ordered a vehicle for the department in August. No, in July. We thought the thing was ordered and going to show up any day now. I got a call 2 weeks ago that they never accepted the order, and now we can't even put an order in until July 6th of this year. So that's what we're dealing with for supply chain stuff. And that's like just a truck. It's just roll with the punches and roll through your Rolodex and call in favors where you can and get people to hopefully help you out. So
Crazy.
I know it's nuts, but it is what it is. So that's all I got.
Anybody else? All right. Anything that wasn't on, well, a lot of this wasn't on the agenda that we just discussed. Any more closing remarks, TJ, before we adjourn?
Nope, I got nothing besides new members. I highly encourage you, if you haven't already, to read through the waterways regulations. And then if you want to come by and get a tour or have a discussion with me, please just email me and we'll figure out a good time to do that. Some of you new members have been in, some of you already know me, some of you don't know me or haven't met me in person, or maybe we have met, I don't know. But that's it. That's all I got.
All right, cool. Anybody have any objection with sharing, not at this moment, but maybe sending TJ your cell numbers? That way we can communicate if we need to give each other a call. It's not frowned upon. The only thing we can't do is we can't have a group text discussing any waterways business. It would be an open meeting law. But we can text each other and call each other to have regular day-to-day conversations. So that wouldn't be, I don't have an objection sharing my cell number. I'll send it over to TJ, and I think it would be good to compile a list of everybody's cell numbers, so that way we'll all have each other's emails anyway through the Waterways Board email chain. But a cell number is good every once in a while, just to pick up the phone or give me a call, or Phil or Tony or Bob or whoever you feel like you need to give a call to have a quick chat about something.
I have a spreadsheet going already.
right.
I can send out to everybody, and if there's a correction on it, just make the correction, send it back.
All right, That'd be great.
TJ, can I talk to you for 1 minute after the call's over? Is that legal about what I have to do next week?
For what, swearing in?
Yeah, well, I have to go to the city council.
No, City Hall.
City Hall?
Have you already been before council?
No, I just had the,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, he hasn't, okay, yeah.
He was on Monday's meeting.
yeah.
To
So
O&M?
can you
Yeah.
either stay on the line or I'll call you tomorrow?
So
Yeah, just, once I close the meeting out, I can't just stay on with you. Just give me a
I'll
shot
call
tomorrow.
you tomorrow.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll get it squared away.
I'll give you a quick one, Peter. So next week, over the next week and a half or whatever it is, we need to go down to City Hall. They're closed on Friday at 12:30, but they're open till 6 on Thursday evening, if that works. Go into the city clerk's office. One of the gals in there will swear you in. And then next Tuesday night at City Council, you'll be sworn in as a full member, and you'll be able to participate. Yeah.
All right, so I get sworn in first and then I go to city council?
You
Yeah.
can go get sworn in anytime. It takes 5 minutes. They're great.
Yeah, no, I'm good at swearing.
Yeah.
They are gonna want to make sure you
You'll fit
took
right
that.
in.
So
Particularly City
Peter,
Hall.
once you swear in and next Tuesday you're voted in front of the full city
Okay.
council. After that, you're good to go.
Good to go.
Okay?
All right.
They are gonna
Okay.
want to make sure you took that online class.
Yeah,
You're
you're gonna do your ethics
I
test
took
too.
it for the library, but I'll take it again.
If
I'm
you've
on the
taken it,
library
if
board.
you've already taken it for the library, that's sufficient. But
Yeah.
when you go to the clerk's office to swear in, just ask them if you're up to date on your ethics.
Okay, my
Okay.
ethics are always up to date. I'm afraid. I try to avoid them as much as possible.
All right. All right.
All right,
Anything-
thank
Anything
you.
else before we adjourn? All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Does somebody want to move it?
Yes.
So moved, second.
All right, it's been moved, it's been seconded. So same thing as I'll start on my bottom right. Peter Young,
Yes.
all right, John,
Yes.
Phil,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Steve, yes. Karen,
Yes.
all right, before we adjourn, it's been voted on a roll call of 8 in favor, 1 unable. Great first meeting, everyone. They're only gonna get better and we're looking forward to the next one. We are adjourned. Have a great night, everyone. Tomorrow morning, I'll be sitting on the beach in the Dominican Republic, so
Oh, there you go, buddy.
don't feel bad for me.
All right, see you later.
Take care, thank you.
All right, ciao.